Right, ledgers, can everybody hear me? And can you see my screen? And good evening. Hello, guys. Hi, everybody. Working? Excellent, excellent. How's everybody? So we're gonna have guest Adam on RB Trade on Twitter. His handle is in the description as well. So let's do the disclaimer, obviously, and we'll do mainly gonna focus on Bitcoin, Ethereum. I mean, it's a bit tricky. It's one of those markets where it is bullish, but is it gonna have a pullback? It's at that stage where it's gonna have a pull. Is it gonna have a pullback? So it's gonna be more of a continuation on from last week. Okay, so let's get this game out the way. So we'll come back once again for another Monday Bitcoin for Ledgers weekly live stream. Before we start, as always, we need to acknowledge our sponsors. It's because of them, we're able to make this happen for free. Our sponsor is Delta Exchange, so we'll be using the platform and looking at it. So if you like what you see, you can join me by signing up to the Delta using the link in the description, and by using that unique TraderSZ link, you will get access to a number of very healthy deposit bonuses for new users. Finally, as ever, nothing in this video stream constitutes financial advice in any way. Trading crypto comes with a high risk element, and you should always consult with a financial professional before embarking on any activity. So, a bit under the weather, so if I sound a bit off, it's going to be a bit cold. I don't know, the weekend. So, what's going on with the market? We'll continue from last stream. So, these are the same levels from last stream. Okay. Are we going to break out? Are we still range bound? Are we going to correct? It's difficult. So, in situations like this, personally, I go more short term trading. Okay. I don't have much confidence until we break out or we get deep pullbacks towards either side of the range. So let's quickly recap last week, and we go from there. So bit higher time frame. Yeah, we'll stick with this. So what we did was we marked out our range. So on the weekly, we explained this is our range high, range low. We're still within that. Okay, is this going to consolidate continuation? Is this continuation lower? Is this going to break out? I don't know. Okay, this is why I'm just playing level to level for now. And another key level was, so I gave two scenarios for a long play, which was this high here, January high. Okay, so what I was looking for was, I mean, it was month end. I didn't really get a chance to take much. I don't really like trading month end, but what I wanted to see was a clean break above January's high. So initially, if it breaks at the range high, you want to see if it's a deviation or not. So I did give an aggressive scenario, and as a day trade, it did rip that high and it rejected. If you did take that, like I explained, you would have cut it. The confirmation of the breakout for me would have been is if we got above range high and then got above January high, and if he had done that, then that's a breakout for me, and we're working within this range. Okay, so that plan still holds. So whatever happens, that breakout plan is still there. Okay, so if whatever happens within here, if it ever was to, this is the consolidation, the push low, if it was to ever get back above here, then I would look to long it here, and whatever the swing low is that took it above, I look to have my risk and we target there. So start off with the easy scenario. Okay, is that clear? So that same breakout plan still holds. Nothing's changed. No, Adam's going to come on in about half an hour when I finish. So is that clear so far? Yep, that's it. That's a simple scenario. So what about the breakdown plan? So if you look at the monthly, how's the monthly shaping up? Okay, and I'm a bit worried about if I'm looking at traditional markets. Okay, they do look a bit heavy. Could we have a correction? Possibly. Okay, but we'll see. So on the monthly, obviously we close bullish, but it's still range bound. Doesn't mean too much. I mean, this could easily be as a down candle. Let's look at the weekly. Okay, two up candles. Could it retest? Where could it retest? But this is the mid-range minimum retest. Okay, so what I would be operating in is, if I'm not sure, okay, sometimes it's clear if it's going to be a trend. If I'm not sure, I know exactly where I'm trading within these two ranges. Okay, so no matter how deep it comes, could it come into here? Could it do this? Could it, I don't know, come all the way back down? I don't know. So I'm only going to have short-term plans. Now, if you see my Twitter, I did post a scenario, and I think it was this chart, if you remember, okay? January's high. If it was to get back below this consolidation here, then that would suggest to me that we're probably back within the range. Now, that does not necessarily mean we're going all the way back down. But what I would be looking for is we haven't really had a decent correction. We mark out logical levels, okay? So right now, if we make a daily close, so if you look at the daily, if we make a daily close below this blue box, okay, or probably easy another chart, I think we could have a short-term top in and correct towards this low here and then this consolidation here, okay? So what would be my trigger? One is, do I have an invalidation? Okay, so if I wanted to go in, well, if it's deviated, okay, this would be perfectly healthy, and then you could continue up. If it's already deviated, then I've got an invalidation already. Okay, so if I wanted to short, that would be my invalidation. Target 1, target 2, possibly go towards here, possibly. Okay, so let's go on to the other chart, because I'm just be consistent with one chart so we don't get mixed up. So here, so this is the levels we used last week, okay, so I don't want to confuse everybody. So what we'll be looking for is some sort of pullback. So if we can, so there's going to be two scenarios I'm going to mark out. One is going to be a pullback play, and one is going to be a breakdown play. So if we do, so far it's deviated, it's even closed on the daily. If it pulls back into there and then starts breaking down, and that will be my short trigger just in towards here, which is the midpoint of there. Then I'll see, is it going to go up or is it going to go down? I don't know. Okay, so let's refine that down a bit. And let's mark it out. So if you break it out, session breaks, okay, what we've got here now is we've got, so far this is a Monday's high and we're creating a range. So I'm not going to say this is Monday's low, but it's a low, range high. Okay, so we're going to use this either as a trend continuation play or a pullback play. So we're capped so far within this leg, so far it's deviated this low. So if it comes up into this consolidation, okay, and then breaks back down, that's the deviation done and holds. That would be my short trigger, target 1. And if it bounces, I'd cut it. Okay. If it then comes back below here and holds, well, this is support, then that will be my next trigger, level to level, back down towards mid-range. And that's going to be my key level, wipe out these stops here. Is that clear? So I'm going level to level because it's at the top of the range. We can't say you can't pull back all the way down. Okay, so for me the safer bet is just play it level to level. That's how I'd be playing it. At this level I have no conviction. Okay, I don't know how deep it's gonna go, but all I know is how to play it within the range. Is everybody clear with that plan? Yep. Okay, let's go on to the other secondary scenario. Is what if it does break below here before I go on to level longs. And with this way, you don't really need a bias, okay? You just play the range, okay? So I don't have to guess, oh, is this the top? Is that the top? I haven't got a clue, to be honest with you. So what will be the next magnet for price? If it was to break mid-range, it would be here, okay? I'd rather go with more conservative plan. So I'm not even going for range lows. I'd go towards here, okay? So the next plan would be, well, what happened previously every time it got back below mid-range? We're working within this area here. So if it naturally, I'm expecting a bounce here. Usually at mid-range you get a bounce. So say we got a bounce and then got back below here and held, then that will be my shorting opportunity. Target 1, target 2. Okay, and that's it. And that's how I'm looking to play level to level. I mean, it's not much to go with, but it's more or less repeating what I said last week. But again, it's just one of those markets where I'm forced to just play it as it is. So what if, okay, we don't get a retest here? So if you don't get the deep pullback, okay, and say we get some risk off or whatever happens, okay, how do we drop this? Yes, like the video if you can. Well, what we're going to look at is previous range, okay? So if I refine this down, you can see this is a key level here. So I'm gonna mark another level. It's going to overlap the current level. This is a key level here. Here we go. And let's look at this level now, okay? Why is that important? Just in case the market doesn't give me the pullback. So I can't just sit there. What am I going to do? Okay, so I've got to do something about that. So as you can see, this is a key level here: resistance, resistance, deviation, SR level. Let me just quickly see, does this mid-range have any value for us? And yeah, more or less, the midpoint of the top half of the range is providing a natural SR flip, well, down here, as you can see. So if the market does not give me the pullback I want and it plays trend continuation, okay, then I'm prepared for that. How do I play that? I know my objective, which is going to be this consolidation here. So what I'm going to be looking for then is, if I'll probably wait for the daily close. I mean, I don't like trading around this time, okay? But if it does break below here and hold, then that would mean, because it's already deviated down there, that would be the trend continuation trigger for me, and just play it towards the top of the box, which is here, and then the mid-range, okay? And that's it. Is everybody clear with that? So nothing fancy, just simple. Mark out my ranges. If it breaks one range, what is my magnified price? My higher time frame levels are my targets and areas I'm looking to hinge the trade around. If I wanted to use like a trend line confluence, okay, I could probably throw that in as well. Here, get this here. I don't know, something like this. Probably not the best drawn trend line. I mean, this is where I don't like trend lines. You just fit it. I mean, okay, that's a fail. Drawing trend lines there, but you got the idea. Okay, Adam's coming on later after I finish this part. So that's more or less it for Bitcoin. I don't really have anything much. It's still in a range. I'm ready for the breakout play. So if it breaks out, so let's look for the long scenarios. Okay, I'm just cautious about here. So the long scenarios would be, well, this is a key level here. So within this range, we can split this up into two ranges for my longs. Okay, so if it did come into here, this is a key support level. So what would I want to see? I mean, I'm not really comfortable with longs here, but so we got this level here. Hang on, what's the range capping at this? So I want to look for some sort of deviation. Okay, and again, this is a key level here, as you can see. Resistance, support, support. So if it was to come into here and they give me some sort of formation like this, reclaim, and that would be a possible long in towards there. Now be careful. So if I see, you know, I mean, I'm gonna go over ES and EM pairs, because if they drop, it usually means risk off. Okay, so if I get risk off, I'm probably not gonna take the longs. I'll be very cautious. Okay, but that would be a long scenario. Invalidation would be a clean break below here. Okay, and that's about it really. So not much to go with. I know exactly. So is everybody clear with that? Does that make sense to everybody? I'm not clear on direction, but all I can do is break it down into ranges and look for my deviations, reclaim next key level. Okay. You're gonna have to Google what risk off is. Okay. So let's do Ethereum. So Ethereum has been really strong. Okay, so let's start with FBTC first. So if you go to the FBTC chart from last week, and FBTC is approaching resistance here. Okay, it does look bullish to me, but we may get some relief here. Okay, so if we go to the weekly, so we'll go over last week's plan first. So last week, this was the blue box here, and I said what would be the short trigger. It didn't give me a short trigger. We played it short before, but it was coming to the range low. So my short trigger would have been is here. If it came into here, then got back below here, that would be my short trigger towards these lows. It didn't give me that. Instead, it deviated back above, and that could have been your long trigger. And we identified that this was the range to play. So that was from level to level there. And that was just an example of a range play. So if you missed last week's stream, you can catch up on that there. And then the breakout play, what was the second range? The second range was this range here. Okay, I wasn't able to get that here, but that would have been your trigger there, and just play it there in violation below here. I wasn't able to catch this trade. I missed this one. I was playing a few alts, but that's that. So let's look at the bigger picture now. What's happening? So with here, this is still a big resistance level. As you can see, we've had a sell-off from here. Sell-off, sell-off. Okay, so let's identify our range from here. And this is where I think Ethereum could have a bit of a correction. So we're coming into this supply area, range highs. Doesn't mean it's bearish, it just means it could have a correction. Okay, so if you look, If it cleanly breaks above here, then obviously we're going to push higher. So let's mark our objective. So we're ready when I'm marking out the range. So what would be the objective if it pushes higher? I would think I'm a bit more be a bit more conservative, and yeah, let's just go towards here really. Okay, that would be the next. So if we look, our initial range was here, secondary range is there, and then there. Okay, so let's see what happens here. If I want to play this short, okay, or if I'm bullish, I don't have to play it short. So if I was to play level to level and I don't give a shit about the bias, then what I would do is wait for it to pull back into there, some sort of breakdown, and that would be a shorting opportunity back towards here, probably down here, be more conservative. Now, if I was expecting a breakout, but I didn't want to, you don't want to, I personally wouldn't want a long here, it's right at resistance, okay? So what I would do is probably wait for that reaction. If it's bullish, probably going to have minimal reaction and then get back above. And then same thing here, I'd look for the trigger there, invalidation, and go for the long there, okay? Or you can use it, to time like an Ethereum long or something. Is that clear? So let's have a quick look at the weekly. How's that shaping up? It's not bad. Pushing up. Okay. So let's go on to the other chart I showed for FBTC. And was it this one? Where with macro view, I am still bullish this. So let's go to that one. FBTC. Binance. No, wrong one. FBTC matrix. Yeah. So macro view, like I said, I am still very bullish this. As the same chart I've shown, we are within 2017 high to 2017 low, mid range. Okay. So is it gonna push higher? Or is it going to continue ranging? Okay, it looks to me wants to push higher. But again, it's still capped by resistance. This could still do this, okay? So on the bigger picture, what boundary are we within? We are still within here. Ideal scenario, like I mentioned before, is if you could drop into here, that's probably because I want a nice entry, and get back above here, then that would be a great deviation into KSR, and then that would be the ideal play. Now, sometimes if it's a trending market, there's two types of setups we get. So if it's really, normally what we get is consolidation, retest, and then continuation. But if it's really strong, what do we get? Consolidation like that, and then like that. So it doesn't even come down. So that could mean we don't come down here, and this could be the minimum level. So which one happens? I don't know. So this is why, in that case, level to level helps. If it does come down to here, then that's a strong buy in my opinion. So again, this is where the level to level helps. Going back to this chart, it's come down into there, and we'll just play this one. Okay, apologies for my voice, I'm just under the weather today. Okay, so yeah, so that would be trend continuation, but just playing it within ranges. Okay, clear this range towards there. And if we want to throw in a trend line as confluence, I don't know, something like this. I mean, it's not really touching that, but yeah, let's see if we want to throw in a trend line. Okay. Okay, so that's that done. Let's go to FUSD. So FUSD, where are we last time? So these were the levels we approached last time. And what was the play? I said if it clears this level, then that's going to be the long opportunity towards there. Now there was two setups I was waiting for FUSD. One was if it swing failed. Okay, so if it swing failed, so we had this high here, and it was a swing failure initially. Okay, but where would be the confirmation? I had a different chart up, okay? So previously, this was the SR level capping the downside, okay? And if it got back below here, that was the confirmation the high was in for me. So again, I was waiting for the same thing. If it had got below here, then I probably would have played it back down towards here as first target, and then these clean lows. Instead, it gave us the bullish. So once he did this, and if it's going to get back above that, then usually that means it's probably going to continue higher, and then closed above here, play towards range high here. So what would be the next play for Ethereum? So I'm going to go to a clean chart in a minute. Okay, so let's go to the weekly. How is that shaping up? This looks strong as fuck, doesn't it? Let's go to the monthly. I mean, it's still early in the month. I mean, things could still change. We could have a deeper wick. So let's go to a clean chart. It's be easier for me to mark out. So let's go to the yearly. No, you can't get much on the yearly. Let's go to the quarterly. Can't get much on the quarterly. Let's go to the monthly. Okay, so where's the next KSR levels for here? So what we've got is, what is the initial high cap in the market there? That's going to be a natural magnet for price, okay? Because that was the initial high back cap in it. Obviously wicked it, close below, wicked it, close below, okay? So we're pushing above here. Could it still pull down? I don't know. But this is where the ranges help. If you're unsure, the ranges will help. So last month's high there, okay? So is this going to be a deviation? So let's mark it out. I don't know. I'm not going to guess either. I don't really want to fight this move. So let's go to here on the weekly. Not much here other than last week's high. Let's mark out last week's high in a different color, okay? We'll do that in that color. So let's go down now to the daily and start. The only thing that makes me uncomfortable is, you know, when you got consecutive updates, hardly any pullback, okay? So that's what concerns me. I'd love a pullback to get along this, okay? So let's go to the 4 hour and see if we can narrow down range. That just makes me uncomfortable. Maybe I'm being too cautious, okay? But if it's approaching resistance, I don't really want to be too aggressive here. I mean, if it was to clear this area here, then that would be more comfortable. So how do we play this? So what we've got here is, let's go down to the lower time frame. And what we've got here, we've taken out these stops here, okay? There. So last week's high comes in there. So if I wanted to short this, okay, where would be a logical target for price? Let's mark out the whole range, the leg of the range. So what I'm going to do is get the high to the low, and I line up. Does my mid-range come in line? Here. So the natural target for price is going to be previous range. So if I look at this, which was lined up with here, okay, there. So we can see, so that's, let me quickly go back. Last week's high. What did I draw out there? 1 second. Yeah, last month's high. My bad. So if I wanted to play a level to level range play, okay, what I would do is, this is last month's high, okay? Is this a deviation? So what I would do is, if I was to play it back down into towards the range like this, what would I do? What would be the target? First and foremost, this would be the objective, okay? And this is a key support level. Whether we long it or not, I don't know. So what it is a steep rise, isn't it? But that's crypto, isn't it? It keeps going. It's hard to put. Yeah. So whatever happens here, if I wanted to play a range play, I'd wait for it to get back below here. That would be a deviation, and I'm not bearish this. I'm just playing it level towards there, and I'll be done there. Okay, unless it nukes it, that'll be different. Okay, because if it does nuke it below here, then that could be trouble. Okay. So is that clear? So that's scenario 1, just in case it comes down. So what I would do is use Bitcoin as confluence. The other play would be, I know I'm not myself today. It's a bit under the weather, like I said. So it might sound a bit boring today. Here. So remember, this was a previous deviation. If it was to get back below here, so this is capping the downside, right? So if it was to get back below here, again, same play like this. Play from there towards there. If it was to break below here, wait for a clean break, back down here. So that way, I'm sort of catching a trending move, okay? But I'm playing ranges. You can see where the consolidations are, ranges are capped. So this way you can get out and get back in without having the fear of, you know, is it going to continue going lower or not? Because you know exactly how to get back in. Is that clear? So again, the same thing would be for the longs, okay? So if it did drop, this would be a logical area that I'll be looking at for longs. So this consolidation here. So what I will be waiting for, exact same thing, let it probably deviate. If it got back above, play level to level, okay? Same exact thing, the downside, play to the upside, just range bound. Now if we are getting, you know, a drop across the board, I'll probably be cautious with longs, okay? And once the correction is done, then we can play with that. So what's next? What will be the next objective? So the next objective for price would be these highs here. How do I play that? So what I'm going to look at is what's capping the market. It's pretty hard here, to be honest with you. It's just difficult to play down here. So I'm going to mark out this level here as an objective. There. Now, what we've got here is a consolidation going on. So let's break it down to the lower time frame. How would I play a breakout play here? So what I look at is what's capping the market right now. So this consolidation here, okay, there. We know that is last week's high. So what I'm looking at is, if it holds above last week's high, we've got a target in place. So before I go for my trigger, I go for target first. So what I'm looking for is, what I don't want to see is a swing failure like this. What I want to see is maybe do this and then get back above and hold. Once it consolidates, a couple of hours close, and then that would be from there towards there. Invalidation will be whatever the swing low is I took it above that. Is that clear? So that would be target 1. And then target 2 would be, well, most likely we probably run these highs here then. So that would be the initial objective, probably get some sort of reaction and then start going for these highs into there. Now again, we can still play, if you got out here for whatever reason, play the exact same play. So it's getting boring, but that's exactly how I do things. So what's the level cap in the market in this side? There. So if you make a clean break above here, we enter this range, key level as a magnet, from there towards there. And that's about it. Is everybody clear with that? Anybody confused or got questions on this? So just to summarize, the main thing I do is mark out my higher time frame levels, identify my range, then look for the extreme ends for entry patterns, and that's it. It's nothing really complicated, it's just the discipline of waiting for it to happen. Yep, that's about it really. I'll bring Adam on in. Is there anything else I want to cover? No, I mean, yeah, so I'm gonna go to ES. Is why I gotta be careful with ES. So I'm looking at the, somebody asked me a question on Twitter, why do I think could be risk off? So I'll give you an example. I mean, I trade FX a lot. So whenever I see stuff like this, I mean, I'm not saying it is, okay? But if it does happen, then I've got to be careful. So Aussie yen is usually a proxy, okay, I use. And if you look at all the yen pairs, they look like they're gonna correct, okay? So I think this looks like it could come a lot lower. Possibly in towards, let's look at the monthly, let's how we see that shaping up. So I'm usually a bit cautious. Doesn't mean it's going to happen, okay? Just a bit cautious, okay? I mean, I don't want to short crypto right now unless it gives me the confirmation. But, oh, fuck. I think towards here, really, okay? So from there, that's from 80, it's about 200 odd pips. So if that's Aussie yen. The other one is ES, okay, so I did post ES. Now obviously this is one market that's difficult to show. I wouldn't want to get on the wrong side of this, okay, but usually, I mean, if you look at August, it's not always, okay, but in August sometimes it is correct. So if I look at these levels, okay, if we break back below here, and this was our post on Twitter, if we get below here, so this was, well, let's mark up what these levels are. Let's go to the monthly. It's usually a monthly level I've got marked out. No, it's a weekly. So I always, you know, bring both of them into the market. So this is a weekly level that's capping the market. So you can see the congestion around here, and that's the next level here. I mean, this has been relentless. I hate shorting this unless it's like really short term with loads of confirmation. But if we did get back below here, so this is a range, this is a weekly level, okay? If we did get back below here, I think we probably target back towards here. And if that was to happen, I'd be careful with Bitcoin as well, because if we do get risk off, even a little correction, that probably will bring the crypto markets down with it. Again, I'm not saying it's going to happen, it's just a warning sign, okay? But I saw all the yen pairs dropping, but yeah, that's that. So yeah, that's all I've got really. Just level to level plays, key levels, and that's it, okay? So again, I do apologize, I do sound a bit boring today, I'm just under the weather, okay? So let me bring Adam on, maybe he can bring more excitement in. Message Adam. Key thing is, do the plans make sense? So especially with Bitcoin, the same levels have been used for weeks now. Give me a second while I bring him in. This is more of a crypto focused one, so can't really do much FX, but I do look at other markets as correlations or just as a warning sign. It's not the be all and all, it's not a guaranteed 100% correlation, but sometimes you look at it as for a warning sign. Okay, let me. Hi Adam. Can everybody hear Adam? So I'm gonna cue the screen now.
Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you loud and clear. So Adam Trade, you guys know him.
Hi.
He doesn't need much introduction. Everybody knows him.
Yeah, hi. Okay, I had to mute the stream. Oh. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you. Yeah, loud and clear. Okay, I'm just gonna get confirmation that if these guys can hear. Can you guys hear him? Just making sure. Yeah, they can hear you. So I think you're presenter now.
Okay, cool. I got a little bit fucked with the... I was watching the stream and then I heard myself and then I heard myself. Okay, so hi guys. My name is Adam. Yeah, I'm not really good at these things, so you have to excuse me. Anyway, what I wanted to show you today is... Everyone can see my screen? Yeah, I guess you can because...
Yep.
Okay, so let me close some, or I will just, do it. Give me a second, sorry.
Take it time.
I will actually show things on TradingView instead. This is Sierra chart I use, but let's actually do it. Oh, you still see the Sierra chart. Okay, no. Oh, there's a little bit of delay. Okay. So I'm not going to be showing any of the Sierra chart. That's a little bit too more complex. But what I wanted to talk about today is the recent parabolic move we had in Bitcoin and how you can actually play this. Because obviously, if you, as he showed this as well, if market is generally trending up, you either get these things or then market is just doing something like that, which is quite hard to get into. So if any of you following me, I am a very more of a short-term trader. So what I actually like to see for any continuation in the parabolic moves is more of something like this and then move up, taking out some microstructure lows. And yeah, so I have a few examples of this and I wanted to make this as kind of simple as possible. This is a 10-minute chart of a Bitcoin over the recent move higher, and there are just two exponential moving averages. One is for this is 2-day moving average, the second one is for 1-day moving average. You can use horizontal SR or anything you want, but like I said, I don't want to waste your time for too long. So what is kind of important here, and obviously when markets start to trend higher, you will have the slope of your moving averages going really, to high degree. And although I prefer mean reversion much more, if you look at something like ES, which as he showed, markets can really get quite retarded for quite some period of time. So until markets don't reach any strong higher time frame levels, it's much easier and much safer bet to just go with the trend. And what I actually use for this is this thing right here, and this is the exo charts. This is the footprint chart. I kind of hope some of you at least know what this is. If you don't, let's have a very quick crash course on a footprint chart. On the left side, you have a sell orders. These are only the market orders because limit orders don't have to get executed, all the time. So these are only the orders that go through the market. On the left side, you have sell orders. On the right side, you have buyers. So sellers on the left, buyers on the right. And these numbers here, these are the deltas. So if you kind of like summarize all trading in these candles, you get a delta for each candle, and this is some filter for a large executed size in one go. So obviously, if you have big red thing, there is a lot of selling. If you have a big, blue thing, you have a lot of buying. So the first example, this is actually this action right here. What do you want to see if you are jumping on a trend? Because the problem is, in general, if you know market does this, then buying here is usually okay. Your invalidation generally is here, but in more parabolic moves, you will have, if you trade with any size, or if you generally want to just avoid slippage, you might get problems, get filled when everyone else is buying. And also, I generally don't like to be in a trade where I know everyone is in the same trade as me. That's kind of like it can work, obviously. I sometimes feel like I'd be much better off just like holding some things for a long period of time, but unfortunately I'm very not unfortunately, but I'm very short term with things I do. So it's kind of a good and bad thing in once. But as you can see in this first example, you can use some very easy systematic rules. I actually don't use EMAs at all, but you have some previous level of structure, market breaks it, and this is where people start to get stopped out. The late longs are getting taken out of the trades, and you can use something like footprint on Bitcoin, which is more of a thin market. This is better to use. I trade quite a bit of bonds where you can get these things from DOM and stuff like that, but in general, you can see, especially in this candle, but also, you have quite a heavy selling, coming down. And once market starts to, push up all these shorts, because obviously these are the breakout traders who just want to, keep shorting this, but there are also some stops getting triggered, because obviously if you're long and you get stopped out, then you will, market will execute a short order, which, is quite likely in parabolic move like this. Below this kind of a structural low, there will be some stops resting. There are some ways how to determine if these are stops or, breakout traders, but I don't think it's kind of part of this for this discussion. But yeah, you can see how, some large sellers were stepping into the market here. They couldn't take it lower, market just turned here. You can then use some very simple market structure. This is something I actually do quite a bit, and I trade a lot of TA as well. Very simple SR. I like how SE trades like simple horizontal lines from key levels. I don't like to overcomplicate things in that sense, but yeah, if although we didn't close above this high here on like lower time frames, we would break the structure. You can get long, and market will essentially continue higher. Another example, which would be this one. You can see how I prepared all of this, but it's essentially all the same things, over and over again. You have a large selling coming down, your delta, and it's all relative. I'm looking at Bybit now, Bybit, BitMEX. I'm not a big fan of Binance, but whatever. You have a large sellers pretty much coming to the lows, which is this chart. Once again, you have kind of a structural level. We break the low, but they essentially cannot, sustain the selling. This tool on ExoCharts is actually pretty cool as well. As you can see, some large orders that were executed at one go, selling, but no follow through, and market will essentially break higher. I have a few more examples here, and if you are in a parabolic trend, you still want to look for this. If you are using EMAs, or I prefer to use VWAP, or just once again simple SR, you kind of want to look at the slopes of the EMAs and how, once they kind of start to flatten this thing won't work anymore. Okay, this is very specific thing for a parabolic trend trading rather than just this won't really work in something like this when markets go to this. You're fucked here. You need to be much more selective, but when you are trying to chase the move and you don't want to chase it too much, then you have once again the same example. You pick up some first structure, you can see your trend is still up, so there is no reason to short it. Let me just quickly check. I'm on a fucking this looks like and once again you have sellers here, large selling coming into the low, they cannot break it, market moves up, and this is kind of interesting thing because this is where your trend is a little bit slowing down, although probably not the best example how this surge higher, but this is where you generally want to be more cautious once you start probing the levels a little bit more. But essentially you were able to regain the structure, which was once again here 23 million overall sell orders came through the level, they couldn't break it, market just essentially you had this high. This is like super simple market structure things that I look for, high, lower high, so on, and then you have this high that made this low. You will gain this, you will break above it, you will retrace back to it. You have also a small, kind of short trap here. Market just goes higher, and yeah, this is probably the last example, and this is where things really started to slowing down. Oh, I think so. No, there was actually another leg, and that's why I like to keep things short term, because I know I'm not good at predicting any long term moves, so I just take few points or few dollar prices and get the fuck out of here, because I know I don't know much, so this works for me quite well. But yeah, very steep sell off. You start breaking below the EMA, but more importantly, this is 10-minute chart, so you have this short-term support. You break below it, and this is pretty much this thing here, and you can see how many sellers and also a large selling orders came to this level. They couldn't do it, and market once again went higher. So I think this is kind of it, and obviously this also works well if you're doing any sort of a mean reversion. This is more of a what SZ does, these ranges, which are much better overall, because you are getting in a point where there is much more liquidity. So these catching a parabolic moves can be quite complicated, but when you have clean resistance high like this, I actually don't have it here, so give me a second. It's this high right here. Okay, once again we broke above it, and you can see how many buy orders went here. These are some more complex footprint patterns. The finished auction right here that only buying were done at these like 10-20 prices, but it's the same pattern over and over again. And I decided to show this because Bitcoin does it very well. You have, I'm sure all of you know these sharp moves when people start to panic, but usually they just essentially trap some people, go for liquidity, and then tend to mean revert a lot. Last thing I have here is what happened today. We came into this like EMA, also some short-term structure. This is just an example that it's obviously happening from both sides. Okay, and I completely fucking lost this one. So give me a second. I'm sorry. Okay, let me just refresh the website. Yeah, so today this is the same thing. Okay, market pretty much moved quickly higher towards this SR structure, but once again really the same thing. A lot of buyers coming in, large buying orders, but we quickly faded. So yeah, one thing I wanted to mention, if you are not using something like exocharts, you can use simple volume indicators. I'm using RVol, which is relative volume. That's kind of like once again a little bit. That's just a little bit more complex volume indicator, but you can see once again, here volume is picking up, a lot of buying, no follow through, and we will essentially sell off. So yeah, this was just like kind of a quick thing, and what I feel like is important to watch your higher time frames. Although I'm very short term based, I'm always kind of looking at daily levels. We had I'm using these volume profiles myself, but you have generally like very simple price action level. Also, there is some like deeper cuts in volume at these edges. Obviously, larger time frame participants are stepping into the markets because they once again can fill more size rather than just kind of they don't want to generally be in the middle. So yeah, this was my super quick think about trading parabolic moves. I think that's kind of all I wanted to show for today.
That was brilliant. You just shared a free trading strategy. So am I correct in thinking?
I think what's important with this is like you have to realize when this is going to work, because obviously if you come with this approach, and you wanna catch the moves when market looks like this, you will get fucked. Like you will get chopped a lot. It's not good. You only need to trade this when markets are kind of retarded and go with the flow. But it's one of the most important things is that like you need to realize when it's time to not do it anymore. Yeah.
That was brilliant. Thank you very much. And you've got some like a website and stuff, haven't you? Going to teach this stuff?
Yeah, I have a blog at
definitely check him out
at tradingriot.com. I have a blog where I described all of these things. It's free. Everyone can read that. Hopefully no one will ask me any questions after they read it. So yeah.
Thank you for coming on.
That's kind of it.
That's brilliant.
Nice, thanks. Thanks, I appreciate it.
Yep. So
thank you.
We're gonna end the stream here. We hit our limit. Okay. Thank you to Adam Trade for coming on. Follow him on Twitter. His handles in the description. Okay. So yeah, definitely check him out. He's got a free website. So if you're into this kind of stuff, just give a free strategy, really basic. Okay, and how he trades short term within ranges. So for example, say that kind of stuff. I mean, I'm looking more. I mean, I've never traded that kind of stuff. I've been a swing trader, but if the market comes into range bound, so that can be used as further confluence, So if you're looking for like a trigger point, like I do, then that can be further used. If you look at the footprint or whatever, as further confluence for trigger entry. So yeah, definitely check him out. Thanks to our sponsor, Delta Exchange, for making it happen. I apologize for my voice today, a bit under the weather. But yeah, like I said, straightforward plan, nothing much to it. Use the link in the description, subscribe to the channel, and check out Delta Exchange. Okay, catch you guys next week. Bye bye.